TNA is getting closer to Sacrifice. The world title match is locked in. Mike Santana versus Steve Maclin is official. And on paper, what should feel like a major deal. But this episode, this felt like one of those shows where the main event scene is trying to carry a whole lot of stuff that just is not hitting at the same level. You had comedy, you had weirdness, you had debuts. You had Rosemary talking to Raven on a throne while holding blood from 1995. Somehow through all of that, Santana and Maclin still walked away feeling like the only thing on this show that truly matters right now. Welcome to the Tea Drop, where the tea is hot, the opinions are hotter, and TNA right now feels like a company with one great story at the top and a whole bunch of other stuff still trying to figure itself out. We are closing in on Sacrifice, and while the card is starting to take shape, this episode really felt like a mixed bag. There were a couple of decent pieces, a couple of strange ones, a couple of matches that were just kind of there. But the good news, Mike Santana and Steve Maclin continue to feel like the real deal. And at this point, they may be carrying the emotional weight of this entire build on their backs. So let's break this episode down. We open with Frankie Kazarian versus Hometown Man. And honestly, this was a pretty fun surprise type of match. Hometown Man comes out with the energy, gets the crowd behind him quickly, and you can tell right away the whole point of this is to let the fans enjoy the bit. Kazarian being Kazarian immediately makes it more irritating by going after the mask, because of course he does. Then AJ Francis gets involved at ringside. The match starts leaning into that outside nonsense, and for a second, it feels like we're heading towards the usual heel distraction, heel wins, everybody moves on formula. But then TNA actually gives Hometown Man the upset win with the small package. And honestly, good for him. Because not every TV match needs to be about ranking systems and title pictures. Sometimes the crowd just needs a fun little moment. Sometimes an underdog gets one over. Sometimes the gimmick acts get to leave with something. And that is exactly what this was. Hometown Man is not about to suddenly become some major player. Nobody thinks that. But as a fun lower card act, this worked. Post-match, AJ Francis goes after him, but Elijah runs in with the guitar, shot for the save, and now you've at least got some comedy chaos to keep this thing moving. Backstage, we get more movement in the Knockouts title picture. The Angel Warriors are mad. Dani Luna is being painted as somebody who has to cheat. Ariana Grace is out here being accused of stealing Lei Ying Li's title. Then Daria Ray walks in to talk to Santino Marella about the whole situation. And Santino does what wrestling authorities figures do best. He takes a messy situation and turns it into a triple threat title match with Ariana Grace defending against Lei Ying Li and Dani Luna. That part makes sense. The problem is the segment itself still doesn't exactly make this division feel urgent. And I've got to be honest, the whole shut up, I'm talking signature line continues to be incredibly weak. It's not clever and not even intimidating at this point. It's not even funny enough to work as a joke. It's just kind of exists. That's it. So while the triple threat match is a logical setup, the segment didn't exactly make me more excited about it. By the way, I don't know why Ariana Grace has this name, but is it because she looks like Ariana from the singer? What's her name? What's her last name? Ariana, whatever. Ariana from Wicked. That girl. She literally looks like her, an early version of her. What? Ariana something. Ariana. I guess Ariana Grande. Jesus. They literally changed Grace to Grande. From Grande to Grace. That's what it looks like, guys. Does it not? I mean, am I talking too much about this? Is it worth even talking about? She literally looks like her. Anyway, I just noticed a camera issue. But anyway, there. Whatever. We continue. Then we get Mr. Elegance versus Mike Jackson. Who the hell is Mike Jackson? Apparently someone very old that I am not aware of, and I have to look further after this whole thing. Yeah, you can't believe I forgot Ariana Grande's name. I did. Because Ariana Grace, look at Ariana Grace. Her name confused me because I thought that was Ariana Grande's last name. Like, come on. She kind of See, I'm so mixed up with this Ariana Grace situation and she's from NXT anyway. Anyway, guys, let's continue. So again, Mr. Elegance versus Mike Jackson. And this is one of those matches where you can kind of see what they were trying to do. But what they were trying to do and what actually works on screen are not always the same thing. A lot of the matches built around Mike Jackson still being able to do things at his age. I don't know how old he is. I'm assuming at least 80? Is he 80, 78, something like that? Regardless, he still got it, I guess, which gets a respectful wow reaction from the crowd, for sure. But what that also means the debuting act, Mr. Elegance, doesn't really get to establish much of anything. He wins, which is fine, but it doesn't feel like a statement win that you need when your debut match is against an 80-year-old man. But that's TNA for you. But it doesn't it's whatever. It just kind of happens at this point. It just happens. Anyway, right now, that sort of issue with Mr. Elegance, this is an issue with the Elegance brand presentation in general. I still don't really know what I'm supposed to be invested in when it comes to these people. I really don't. I really don't. I don't know what makes this act dangerous, special, or just a must watch. And when a debut doesn't answer any of that question, it becomes a problem for the Elegance brand. After the match, ODB shows up afterwards, makes the save when they were beating up this guy, and the segment ends with people getting drenched again. This, I guess this is the Elegance brand way. I'm just not sure if it's something we should care about. But anyway, we move on. We get Dani Luna and Ariana Grace versus the Angel Warriors. And this actually did a solid job of accomplishing something important. Doesn't she look like Ariana Grande there? Guys, come on. Look at that. She definitely looks like her twin sister or something. Anyway, while Ariana Grace still looks like she's in over her head, which is clearly the point, Dani Luna came out of this looking like the real killer in the Nemeths, which is the story here. The match itself was fine, nothing crazy, nothing revolutionary of a sort, but Luna's physically stands out. And by the time she hits the lunar landing for the pin, the message is clear. If this triple threat is supposed to have one person who feels the most dangerous, it's probably going to be her. And this is the detail I like here. Li Yang Lee doesn't take the pin, which is important because if she's going into the title match, protecting her just a little bit makes the upcoming match feel stronger. That's the kind of small booking detail that makes a difference, even on a mid-level TV match. Then, Leon Slater gets a promo talking about Eric Young pile driving him 2 weeks ago. And I actually was fine with this because Slater's saying that for the first time he doubted whether he'd even been able to get back up. That gives the feud a little more weight. Then he flips it, says Eric Young didn't do enough, call him the big bold D word, B word, and promises he'll be ready for sacrifice. Pretty good promo, simple and effective, and more importantly, it gives Slater some fire. You don't always get the edge from him, so when it shows up, it's gonna be important. This wasn't some of the all-time promo or anything, but it did its job for that moment. We get a reminder that Moose beat Cedric Alexander in a street fight last week, and then Moose is set to face Brian Myers. But before the match can turn into the usual overbooked system nonsense, Santino comes out and throws the rest of the group out, which is amazing and great. You don't have to go crazy and worried about this, but as soon as the bell rings, spear towards Brian Myers because he wasn't paying attention, and 12 seconds later, this match is done. And honestly, that's kind of hilarious. This wasn't some deep, meaningful TV classic type of match. It was just TNA saying Brian Myers is absolutely not on Moose's level in this moment. And they got the point fast, within 12 seconds. Efficient is the right word. The only downside is that it doesn't exactly do much to raise the temperature around Moose himself. He wins, yeah, but it feels more like a quick angle beat than somebody truly important. Still, for what it was perfectly fine. And now we have to talk about the weirdest thing on the show. Rosemary meets up with Allie. Allie hates the regular clothes she's wearing. Rosemary gives her something else. Then they go see Raven, who is on a throne, and he gives Rosemary some of Tommy Dreamer's blood from 1995. I'm sorry, but this is insane. This is wrestling nonsense at its purest form, and the funniest part is Raven being involved automatically gives it this bizarre credibility because he can say almost anything in that delivery and you lean in to listen. Do I know where this is going? Absolutely not. Do I know whether it's good? I don't know either. But is Raven on a throne being strange, still compelling television in a vacuum? Absolutely. It is. So I'm stuck in that weird place where I cannot tell you this angle makes sense, but I also can't tell you I wanted to skip it. It's like a train wreck that you want to watch happen. But anyway, we get then Elayna Black versus Jada Stone, with Marisade on commentary and Tasha Steelz getting involved. The match is there, it happens. Black gets the win with a blackout after the distraction. And that's kind of the problem now when it comes to Elayna Black. Elayna Black came in with a level of buzz when she came to TNA earlier this year. She had a little bit of a star presence around her arrival. It felt like there was something there to build from. And since then, not much. She's just sort of around at this point. That doesn't mean she can't become something important down the run. It just means TNA needs to actually decide what they want to do with her and start moving swiftly with a purpose, because talent without momentum is just background decoration at this point. And right now, that's dangerously close to what this feels like with her. Post-match though, chaos follows. Order 4 surrounds Stone. Trey Miguel runs in for the save, and it looks like Sacrifice is going to get some kind of multi-person situation out of this, which is fine. But again, fine is a kind of the theme of this episode. We move on to the next match. We get the Nemeths versus the Righteous. And I always say this, the Nemeth brothers are still an interesting act. But the interest is almost entirely because Nick feels like the guy holding the whole thing together. That's the hook. Ryan being kind of useless is not a flaw in the story. It might actually be the story, because at some point, if Nick keeps having to do everything, you can see where this goes. The frustration builds, that split comes later, and then you have a real direction. The match itself is alright. The Righteous continue to exist in the weird in-between zone where they're not exactly dead in the water, but they're not exactly surging either. The Nemeths get the win, and the larger Hardys-related direction seems to still be floating in the background. Nothing bad here. Nothing amazing either, though. Just another piece on the board on a Thursday night Impact. And then we get the reason this episode mattered. Mike Santana and Steve Maclin sit down face to face. No overproduced nonsense, no comedy or clutter, just two men with real issues. Santana talks about Maclin being the one who believed in him when he came back, the one guy who had his back. It's an important statement to make because it reminds you this isn't just a champion versus a challenger. This has personal history, this has trust breaking down in front of your very own eyes, and this is pride curdling into resentment. Maclin cuts him off and says Santana is the one with the ego, then starts talking about Afghanistan and volunteering to sweep 4 mines. And that right there tells you everything about how Maclin sees himself. A man shaped by survival, a man who believes pain justifies everything, and a man who thinks he's earned the right to be exactly who he is. Then Santana fires back with the line of the segment, that Maclin made his past an excuse while Santana made his past a superpower. That is really strong because it is not just an insult, it is the thesis of this feud. Both men have been through things, both men have scars, one shape or another, but one turned the pain into fuel and the other turned it into an armor. Then Santana tells him when he wins a sacrifice, everything Maclin has done will be for nothing. Pays for the drinks, tells him he's welcome for the job because little ending beat. This is still the best TNA thing in TNA by far. Not one of the better things. Not arguably the best. By far the best. because it feels like two real people saying real things in a wrestling company that too often gets distracted by side quests every now and then. This was not one of the strongest TNA's episodes so far, but it doesn't mean it was terrible. It just means a lot of the show felt like filler around the one story that truly matters right now. Hometown Man was there just making an upset for fun. Dani Luna came out of her match looking stronger, and Leon Slater showed some needed edge for his battle at Sacrifice. Moose murdering Brian Myers in 12 seconds was amusing, and Raven being weird is still somehow watchable TV in 2026. But the overall episode a little flat, and that's the concern heading to Sacrifice, because Santana versus Maclin feels ready. It's the most important match, it's the most heated match, and it's the match that feels like it belongs on the top of the card for Sacrifice. What TNA still needs is one more big hook underneath it. One more match, one more angle, one more feud that makes the event feel loaded instead of just decent. Because right now, this card was okay, but okay and a must-see are not the same thing. But that's it. This episode do enough to build hype for Sacrifice. So let me know in the comments, is Santana versus Maclin carrying this whole show right now? And what did you think about the hometown man pulling off the upset? Drop your thoughts in the comment, hit the like, and I'll see you on the next one.